What's up guys, this is Woolf from Scratch and welcome back to another Civilization 5 guide. Last time I did the English civilization led by Elizabeth I, really strong naval civilization which Britannia really will rule the waves. So this week I sort of gave you a hint which one it was going to be introduced in their own little expansion pack. We've got Denmark led by Harold.
Successfully drove off waves of German settlers in 983 AD. Stalwart Viking, the time for greatness is upon you once more. You are called to rise up and lead your people to renewed power and triumph. Will you make the world shudder once more at the very thought of your great armies of Northmen? Will you let the Viking battle cry ring out across the crashing waves? Will you build a civilization to stand the test of time?
So as you can see, Denmark, or the Viking special ability, is Viking Fury, where when a unit is embarked, that unit gets one extra movement compared to from the beginning. You get when your units are embarked, which you get of course from discovering optics. That embarked unit will have 2 movement. Denmark or Danish units will have initially 3, which is quite nice. Also their unit model is quite nice, which is what I always like. When they go from land, embarked onto the land, it only costs them 1 movement point instead of all movement points. And as well, any melee units pay no movement cost to pillage, which means you do a nice little Viking raiding strategy. And that leads to a specific type of war which suits well for Denmark, which is a war for profit. I will go over these different types of wars in a later guide, but I'll sort of go over that a bit later on at the end of this guide. So, there's Viking Fury, already seen up to be quite a raiding civilization. I'll see if I can show you the optics ability. Actually, yes, right, we're studying medieval. Let's show you now. Spearman. Look how pretty that is. Look at that. That's so cool. Love it. But also, as you can see, going from land to ocean does use all of your movement costs. However, when on the seas, I do get that extra movement, and other way round, the special ability counts. So, let's move on to Denmark's unique unit, or the first of their 2 unique units.
Or gold or iron break. The metalsmith welds them together again in the fire, and the bond is established.
So upon researching metal casting, you'll unlock the first Danish unique unit, which is the Berserker. The Berserker replaces the Longswordsman, and where it differs from the Longswordsman is that it gains 1 extra movement, which is always nice, and it also has the amphibious promotion, in which when it can attack onto the land from the coast with no penalty. So overall, the extra movement is nice, and along with Denmark's special ability, it starts forming a bit of the typical, if you can imagine, the Viking raiding strategy, going onto the shores of Normandy and pillaging the lands. This is the kind of strategy the Berserker is trying to get you to go towards at this stage of the game. It's not a fantastic bonus. The 1 extra movement is always nice. It means you can outrun everyone else, that is, non-cavalry units. But the amphibious promotion will be less used, unless you're using a more archipelago map, which Denmark can do quite well at. The second part of that uniqueness of this unique unit, the amphibious part, will be used less often. A bit more situational, but it's not bad. Anyway, let's move on to Denmark's special other unique unit, and as soon as I connect this iron up, 4 turns, I'll show you what the Berserker looks like. Right, so finally, after much barbarian troubles and disconnecting my iron, I've finally been able to build a Berserker. As you can see, look at them. They're ready for action. Added movement as well, which means I can get quickly into the battle and stop these barbarians from really getting me annoyed. Look at them. They've been fox hunting. They're nice and warm, even though it's a desert, so they probably don't need the foxes, but that's okay. Details. We don't need them. Also, what I did forget to mention is that the Berserker is unlocked at metal casting, which I told you, not at steel, which is where the Longswordsman is originally pick from. So it means you've got another 15 to 10 turn advantage or so over your competitors. So you've got this already stronger unit, and it means you can quickly pump it out before the other civs can get their equivalent longswordsman out, which is nice. Not groundbreaking in the grand scheme of things, but it is really, really nice. So, finally, let's move on to the final Danish unique unit.
Well, that war is so terrible. Oh, we should grow too fond of it.
So upon researching rifling, you'll unlock the Danish unique unit, the Norwegian Ski Infantry. This unit replaces the rifleman, and it's rather unique in that, let's just upgrade our musketman. A, it has skis on, which look absolutely fantastic, which means you can have your own biathlons. Oh, I'm out of money. Oh well. So this unit has double. It will go through double speed through snow, tundra, and hills. It also will have a 25% combat bonus if there is no forest and jungle on that tile. So if you look around this map, we've got hills, lots of hills, and not really much snow. We've got some tundra up there, but the hills bonus, and that's the greatest part of this bonus. Moving through a very hilly map or a map with lots of tundra or snow, this unit will really, really dominate, and it can lead some very good blitzkrieg strategies. And that 25 combat bonus is absolutely fantastic, and as well as being one of my favourite units because of, I guess, how ridiculous they look. I love it. It's really quite nice, especially the way they move. So, to summarise this civilization as a whole, Denmark is a domination civilization, but compared to someone like Germany or Japan, they're not as solid in the special ability focused aspect. Denmark is focused towards more of a raiding stance, rather than the more command and conquer strategy that we saw with Germany. The special ability will give you extra movement when embarked, and it will give you a special model when embarked, these little Viking galleys, which still don't replace, even though I'm in the industrial era, which I think is quite funny, having all these rifles on this little galley. The main type of warfare you're going to be doing as Denmark is a war for profit. A war for profit is when you're going to this war with the sole aim of absolutely crippling your enemy's economy and just getting as much gold as possible. Really, you're going to quit when the war's gone on for about any more than 70 turns. It's time to end. Or when you've pretty much crippled the other guy's economy, you've got your money, and you can get out. The lack of a movement penalty when pillaging means that you should absolutely, when at war, focus on pillaging, because there's no movement cost. Prioritize, we'll call it strategic pillaging, which is things like roads, especially connecting from their capital to their other cities. This will also cripple their economy, as well as ruin their transport network, which is always nice. And of course, pillaging everything else, luxuries, tile improvements to get all that lovely, lovely gold, and of course, crippling your opposition. The embarked movement is reasonably nice, and that extra movement will add up, especially with the exploration from getting optics. The real bonus for this unit is the embarkation from land onto ground. As you can see, I have 4 movement, and I'm here on 3. Which is really, really good. It sort of sets up a kind of marine landing style, like storming the beaches of Normandy kind of strategy going on here. You can absolutely rush them from the shore and from the ocean, sorry, onto the ground, which sets up a really quite nice strategy going up here. Your first unique unit, the Berserker, which replaces the Longswordsman, is not only unlocked at metal casting instead of steel, which means you've got that sort of tech advantage already going. But the added movement means you can do a bit of a sort of semi-blitzkrieg movement. That one movement will not allow you to be very, very war for movement. but rather it will just add up. It means you can chase down any retreating units and sort of get out of trouble when you need to. The real bonus with this unit, which is going to be a bit more situational, is the amphibious promotion, which means if the shoreline is clogged with the enemy, you can absolutely attack them from the shore and not suffer the penalty that would regularly come with it. Which is nice when that shoreline, as I said, is clogged up. The only problem with that is the risk of barbarians, so of course, as with any kind of amphibious invasion, have a couple of naval units for protection. Their second unique unit, the Norwegian ski infantry, is pretty much the master of movement on very snowy maps, and any map that has a lot of hills without forests or jungle. That double speed really is really nice, and that 25 combat bonus, as I said, is really nice as well. In terms of social policies and ideology for Denmark, the Viking civilization, honour is obviously the way to go. We've had England last week, and before that Germany, and it's a very similar policy going on here. Honour, liberty if you're going wide, commerce to support that army, and you can go exploration to supplement your naval bonus, which is nice, but it's not necessarily required. Ideology is definitely autocracy all the way, unless you want to muck around and go freedom, for example, which I don't know, could be interesting perhaps. But ideology, autocracy is definitely the way to go here. The AI, when playing against the Danish AI, I'm getting confused with our Norwegian ski infantry. When playing against the AI, Harold Bluetooth is not afraid to have a tussle with you. Got to treat him with suspicion, as he is reasonably aggressive. However, he does have a certain sense of honour, so if you can get on his good side, he can make a very good ally, especially if you have an enemy of enemy with him. When playing against the ski infantry, when they're in their chosen terrain, that is snow, tundra and hills, absolutely treat them with respect, because you just aren't going to come up on top unless you have a technological advantage. Remember that they have the bonus movement and combat strength in this terrain. When coming up against the Berserker, just be aware of the amphibious promotion. Just because you're on that unit is on the coast and you're on the shore, does not mean you have the advantage. Remember that both of these units are faster than you in their terrain, so keep that in mind when retreating, as that retreat could turn out to be a massacre. And when they are retreating, if you're going to chase them down, Berserkers, chase them down with cavalry, like knights, because your regular infantry just won't be able to catch them, as well as the ski infantry, chase them down with cavalry, the actual cavalry unit. So overall, Denmark is, in my opinion, not the greatest domination civ, because they just don't have that solid abilities, so like Japan or Germany. However, they are still quite good, and very good at a raiding-oriented strategy, which works out quite well, and crippling someone's economy can be more powerful than taking their cities. So, hope you enjoyed my guide to the Danish civilization. Next week will, as always, be another civilization from this wonderful game. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more. That's me, Woolf out.